You are the weirdos, mister.
Welcome back to the Final Ghouls of Horror. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Holly.
And I'm Al.
We're three people who love horror and are coming at it from different perspectives of who we are, as well as very different levels of experience with the genre, which we're always excited to talk about. And this week, we're establishing our love links for toxic relationship fun as we take a look at 2025's Companion.
There have been two moments in my life when I was happiest. The first was the day I met Josh.
I'm Josh.
I'm Iris. And the second, the day I killed him.
Just relax. Remember to smile and act happy. Do they know? Iris, wake up.
What are you doing?
So, were you familiar with Companion going into this? Because, we'll talk about this a little bit further in, but what did you know about this movie coming in? Because I feel like that affects your enjoyment of it quite a bit, potentially.
So I knew that it was a movie, and that we would be covering it on this podcast from the last episode.
Okay, fair enough. Absolutely fair enough. Cool. That's going to make one of our discussion points a little bit more interesting because we're going to have a varied experience with that. Holly, what about you? At what level were you familiar with this one?
This one was on my radar when the trailer first came out. So, yeah. Once again, later discussion point. I definitely wanted, and I think I watched it like within a week when it came out because I definitely wanted to see it.
I'm very much the same. I saw the trailer at something that I went to the theater to see. That was my first familiarity with it. I can't remember what it was. Actually, now that I think about it, it was probably Megan. Because this is 100% a trailer that would show in front of Megan. And the very first trailer, I was like, ooh, okay. It lists all of from the creator of Barbarian and so on and so forth. I'm like, ooh, there's Sophie Thatcher. I'm really starting to like her. There's Jack Quaid. I like him. What the fuck? Why is her arm on fire? What is this? Because the first trailer is very kind of a little more esoteric. And then I knew a decent amount. I had seen all the marketing materials, which means I knew certain things about this movie. But I think this was a day one in theater for me because I was all in on this, and I have seen it now twice. I don't think I had watched it since it hit like Max. And yeah, it is, spoiler alert, this is not just horror films all together, my second or third favorite film of the year so far. I keep debating which one I like more between this and K-pop Demon Hunters, but it's really close between them.
So it's on the shortlist for your shortlist for movie of the year.
Pretty much. Like, my top three are, right now, obviously there's a lot of time left, are K-pop Demon Hunters, Companions, and Sinners, which I will be covering that at some point, because that is also on Max now, and that is a fantastic movie. Anyways, let's talk a little bit about, or learn a little bit about, I guess, this film's production history. Holly, I don't know how to segue that, so take it away.
Companion is written and directed by Drew Hancock in his feature directorial debut and stars Sophie Thatcher, Jack Quaid, Lucas Gage, Megan Siri, and Harvey Guillen. Hancock originally started writing the script as a piece to show what he could do because as a genre fan, he wanted to show the kinds of films he wanted to do. This film has some indirect connective tissue to Zach Cregger's 2022 film Barbarians. The film also had a big shift at one point, and Hancock was able to read a draft of Barbarians when he was working on the companion script. He said in an interview with the playlist that reading that point of view shift allowed him to realize that he could change the film's tone after Iris's reveal, and it helped him finish the script. Cregger was originally set to direct Companion, but Hancock said that when he spoke with Cregger about the script, he had lots of ideas on how the scenes could play out. Cregger felt Hancock should direct and went on to champion him, taking on directing duties. Filming began in early 2023 in New York's Hudson Valley, but it was paused due to the strikes for 6 months and was ultimately completed in January of 2024. Companion released on January 31st, 2025. The second trailer revealed the biggest reveal of the film, namely Iris being a robot. Hancock said he would have preferred that hadn't been revealed, but was okay with it, because he understood you need a hook to get audiences into theater, and felt there are enough reveals after that and it doesn't ruin the movie to know that. Critics generally love the film, which has a 93% critic average on Rotten Tomatoes. Audiences also loved it with an 89% Rotten Tomatoes audience rating and a B+ on CinemaScore. The film was ultimately profitable in theaters with $36.7 million worldwide against a $10 million budget. A few fun facts. The opening scene with Iris pushing a grocery cart is a direct reference to the final scene of Stepford Wives, which covers similar territory to this movie. Iris crying from one eye at a time is not an effect. Hancock has said Thatcher has the ability to cry on command out of either eye, and that he incorporated that into the movie when he found out.
It's my favorite weird actor talent I've ever heard of. Oh yeah, I can cry out of either eye individually on command.
What, you don't like Droz going for a job with the WWE and it's like, oh, I can puke on command.
Yep.
It's like, all right, do it now. He's gonna puke.
I haven't watched Beyond the Mat in a while. No, never mind. I don't want to watch it because that means I have to look at more backstage footage of Vince McMahon.
Yep. Sorry, that was the only thing I could think of when I was like looking at that as well. It's like, oh yeah, just like that.
Just like that.
Same thing.
It's the exact same thing. So this movie, I will say right up the top, I really love this movie and I think it's a lot of fun. But that said, there are some pretty significant content warnings for this. I think it handles it all pretty well. But this film does both thematically and explicitly cover domestic violence, gaslighting, and sexual assault. This is that kind of a film. So, yeah. Elle, tell us what this movie is about.
Iris and Josh, a young couple who happen to meet at a grocery store, are headed to an isolated lake house to meet their friends, Kat, Eli, Patrick, and Sergei, the latter of whom owns the house. They spend the rest of the night having a meal and dancing, reminiscing. The next day, Iris heads down to the lake, where she is met by Sergei, who attempts to sexually assault her, but is instead killed by being stabbed in the neck by Iris. A blood-soaked Iris returns to the house and attempts to explain what happened before being told by Josh, Iris, go to sleep, and she shuts down. She regains consciousness to find herself tied up to a chair when Josh reveals the truth to her. She is an advanced companion robot who can be controlled by his phone, and that their meet-cute was an implanted memory the entire time. When he goes to check on Kat, who is in shock after hearing about Sergei's murder, Iris escapes into the forest with the phone. When she realizes that she can change several things about herself, including her intelligence level, she sets it to 100% and tries to think of a way to escape. It is revealed that Josh and Kat were planning on robbing Sergei and letting Iris take the fall, inviting Eli and Patrick along to corroborate their story against her. During a group argument in which Josh and Kat insist to Eli that Patrick isn't entitled to the cut of the money because he doesn't count, Patrick is also revealed to be a companion robot. Josh admits to using a mod to jailbreak Iris's settings, including turning off her inability to do harm, which prompts Eli to take the gun from Sergei's safe. The four split up to find Iris in the forest. While searching for her, Patrick reveals to Eli that he has become aware that he is a companion bot, but is genuinely in love with the former, a feeling which Eli reciprocates. They soon spot Iris, but before Eli can shoot her with the gun, he is shot dead in a struggle. She tries to escape to Josh's self-driving car, mimicking his voice by altering her own settings. However, Josh is able to stop the car by reporting it as stolen. He then resets Patrick to be his new companion robot, plugs in the mod that he'd used on Iris, and sets Patrick on her trail. Meanwhile, Iris is met by a police deputy following the stolen car, and as she's about to be arrested, they're found by Patrick, who beats the deputy to death before shutting Iris down and returning to the house. Kat, disgusted by Josh's actions, tries to leave with her half of the money, but is literally stabbed in the back by Patrick, who was commanded by Josh simply to stop her.
I mean, he did stop her.
Yeah. Later that night, Josh has Patrick set up a date for himself and Iris, detailing how guys like Josh just end up with nothing and the world is against them. You know, the conventionally attractive white man. He sets her intelligence down to 0 and burns her hand before commanding her to shoot herself in the head. Soon after, 2 workers from the companion bot company take her away, but reveal to Josh that not only is everything recorded, they also have everything that they need to turn her back on. Josh commands Patrick, who's disguised in the deputy's uniform, to kill the workers and retrieve Iris again. Patrick manages to kill one of them, but before he can kill the other, Iris fully reboots and ambushes him. However, because of the reboot, Iris is once again unable to do harm, so she appeals to Patrick's humanity using his love for Eli. Realizing that he doesn't want to be in a world without him anymore, Patrick shuts himself down forever using the weapon Iris had attempted to use against him. The surviving worker, Teddy, gives Iris the ability to fully control herself. Back in the house, Iris is about to shoot Josh. The latter plays up her love for him before stripping her of the gun. However, after a scuffle, she kills him by stabbing his temple with an electric corkscrew. The next morning, she peels the burnt skin from her hand, exposing the robotic inner workings, packs up the money, and drives away. While driving away, she sees a man driving with an identical companion bot to herself. Iris playfully waves with the visibly robotic hand and smiles, to the other robot's confusion. Roll credits.
Yep. So we touched on it earlier, but the trailer and the marketing materials, again, the first trailer does not, the second trailer does, and I would argue the poster mostly does. It makes it pretty clear Iris is something other than human, I would say. Basically reveal that Iris is a robot. Holly, you knew that she was a robot already before you saw the movie. Elle, so did you had no idea that was the case going in?
Yes, until slightly earlier today when I had to check our little behind the scenes run sheet.
Okay. Before you watched it?
Yeah, well, because it's like, okay, I need to know like for how the sausage is made, who's covering what, like all of the like the behind the scenes stuff.
That was why I said when I said, okay, here's the production notes. There is a spoiler or two in it.
I skipped the production notes section because that wasn't my area to cover.
Yeah,
I did
fair.
See, production notes, content warnings, plot synopsis goes here, and then literally the trailer and marketing materials spoil the big reveal that Iris is a robot.
Oh man, I was trying to be good about it too, and I waited because I thought you had already watched it at that point.
No, I'm sorry.
All good. It's all good.
In the interest of transparency, I finished watching it 5 minutes before we started recording.
Fair enough. So this brings up a good question. Is spoilers something that you even care about? Like, does it hurt your enjoyment? For most movies, I think there are some movies that it is impossible not to have your enjoyment of a film affected by the spoiler. I don't think this is one of them. But in general, is spoilers something that bothers you if you learn something about a film beforehand? Because I know people who are like, spoiler doesn't matter to me at all, and other people who are if they learn anything about the film, their enjoyment is affected.
It can do. It does vary. Because it's
Okay,
like
fair.
I have the issue where I can't rewatch a film. I think I've mentioned this before,
Yes.
but I can't rewatch a thing too soon to when I last saw it or read it or whatever, because I will
Mhm.
remember too much. Spoilers can act as a preemptive version of that.
That's fair.
Obviously, if something is like story critical to be a reveal, having that
Mhm.
spoiled is like, it's like, oh, okay, I my brain is automatically piecing everything together.
Right.
Weirdly, it didn't work like that for this, because I think that's more of the setup rather than a big crucial plot point.
Yes.
Like it's not the axis on which the story turns, kind of.
Right. It's the premise. It's not. Yeah, it's exactly what you said.
Yeah, it's like if you told me, oh, Star Wars has like a rebellion against the Empire. It's like, oh, okay, that is technically a spoiler, but that does nothing.
Right. As opposed to, like, spoiler alert for Star Wars, if somebody tells you, oh yeah, Obi-Wan dies halfway through, and in the second film, it's revealed that Vader is Luke's father, and so on. Those are spoilers.
Yeah,
Like, very different.
but they're all spoilers, but
Right.
some are more of a spoiler than others.
That is absolutely fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew this. Like I said, the second trailer fully reveals it. It absolutely 100% has the line, "Did you jailbreak your sex bot?" Like, it is not, which I wish I had gone in not knowing, because I think that is a hell of a reveal, and I think it does a good job of teasing that without tipping its hand until Iris go to sleep. And then she wakes up tied to a chair, and so on and so forth. In fact, I know there was somebody, one of my friends saw it without knowing the details. And they did figure it out beforehand at something that I didn't even blink at, but definitely should have. She said, oh, yeah, when she stepped out of the shower and she had her full makeup on, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, she's not quote unquote real, which, to be fair, I just thought that was Hollywood being Hollywood. Yes, we know our female lead is coming out of the shower, but can she still look hot?
We're not allowed to show anything. How can we show that she's actually female?
Right, exactly.
Makeup,
Uh,
always.
yep, yep. That said, watching it this second time, there's a lot of stuff that I didn't pick up in, particularly the car ride on my first watch, that I definitely picked up this time around. Stuff like, the Iris wake up, the way that Iris clearly cares a lot more about the smart car than Josh does. There are definitely things that could clue you in, even if you didn't know, but I think they're handled fairly subtly. Holly, I know you, like I said, you knew the twist going in.
I did. So, on the other end, it's actually what interested me in the movie.
Yes.
So, the trailer I saw was that it was a shorter trailer, and he said, like, Iris go to sleep in it. And, like, it didn't, I don't think it showed, because it was the scene that, like, after she had killed Sergey, but I don't think it, like, showed any of that in the
Right.
trailer. But yeah, and I was just like, oh, that's an interesting concept, and I didn't realize it was going to be like a mystery to it,
Mm-hmm.
because from the trailer I saw, it just seemed like it was common knowledge.
Right. Yeah, that would have been like one of the later final trailer or TV spot or something like that. Yeah. No, for sure. Is spoilers something that affects you in a negative way as a rule? Or are you somebody who's like, oh, Rosebud was a sled? Okay, fine.
It depends on the movie or TV show. I mean, okay, most of the time I'll still watch it. If it's something that interests me enough, I'm still going to watch it.
Right.
If it's something I was only partially interested in and then I get spoiled, I'm probably not going to watch it.
Yeah, that's fair. So with this film, obviously Iris, going off the reveal, obviously she is the lead in this and the core of the story. Ollie, how does she work for you as a character? Is she somebody, are you rooting for her? Does she come off as, likable and believable within the premise?
Oh, absolutely. I love Iris. She is. I don't know if I want to call her a final girl. I mean, like she is. She has final girl energy.
Right. She gives off
Final.
for me. Final Girl tends to imply slasher, and I don't think. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm trying. Final girl serial killer, but they deserved it. I don't
right.
know.
For me, she's a good for her girl.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
this is the epitome of a late 2020s good for her movie.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But yeah, no, I found her very likable, and I honestly I would have liked to know a little more about like her backstory, because like he mentioned, she's programmed with a backstory,
Mm-hmm.
and I would have liked to know a little bit more of that, maybe even towards the beginning, or maybe her like when she realizes what she is, going through these different memories and then realizing they didn't actually happen.
That would have been cool, actually. Yeah. Yeah. No, legit. I think I was instantly in part because Sophie Thatcher is playing her. I knew Sophie Thatcher from Yellow Jackets. She plays one of the main teen girls in Yellow Jackets and is fantastic in that. And then she did Heretic last year, which again she is really really good, and that's another one I think that we'll have to cover at some point. Because it does do a lot of really interesting things and has a lot to say about faith and
Mm-hmm.
perspective and a lot of that kind of stuff. So I was already in on her as a character because of the casting choice. But the way that, and I'm particularly impressed, the way that she is written by Hancock, because it does feel, she doesn't feel like the stereotypical female lead in a feminist film written by a guy, I think is probably the best way to put it. No, her arc is really good in my mind in terms of you immediately get behind her, you're sympathetic to her, especially because of all the shit that Josh is doing that pisses me off, but we'll get into that in a minute. And her turn from somewhat nervous, like kind of wanting to prove her only eyes for Josh, a romantic character, into absolute badass is believable and makes sense. Partially because of the plot, partially because of Thatcher's performance. Yeah, I'm a fan, to say the least. Al, how about you? Is this a character that you find yourself rooting for, buying into?
Rooting for, not really, but believable and like, yeah, authentic as a character.
Okay.
Yeah, it, it's weird. It's not even like ostensibly the villain of the piece, even though it's like, well, point of view character isn't necessarily one or the other, but is also kind of the hero.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just, I think she felt in a weird spot for that, where it's like, oh, I'm just here for the ride wherever it goes. I am not hoping especially for her success.
Okay.
Hmm.
Fair enough.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Like, even just thinking about it now, it's like, I mean, it would have been also interesting if she'd lost, quote unquote.
Oh. I mean, it would have been it would have been a very different story, and that would have been one that I would have bought into. If it had a different tone,
Mm,
honestly, I would have been pissed if if it ended with her quote unquote losing and thus probably in theory Josh winning. Yeah, I would have exited the theater in a very different way.
yeah. But like I could see where it's like, yeah, no, that this story could easily go in that direction, even
Oh, for
considering
sure.
how it's built up.
For sure. That is definitely, yeah.
And maybe I've just seen too many things where the ending is, well, it was a dream the entire time.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh yeah, no, that's a plausible ending.
I mean,
As,
there are,
as I said, it sits weird.
yeah. I mean, generally AI style movies where the AI ends up going, for lack of a better way to say it, berserk, or ends up going rogue. That's a little bit better way to put it. They do usually end with the AI decommissioned or destroyed or whatever. Your favorite movie being a good example of that. Which I think that goes back to the old Hollywood notion of the bad character, the character who does the bad things has to be punished towards the end of it. So they could have gone that way. I'm really glad they didn't, though, because I do really like how this ends. But yeah, I think obviously one of the big things that this film is talking about and leaning on is the notion of toxic relationships. I'll be honest, I don't think anyone has a healthy relationship in this movie. Maybe Patrick and Eli right towards the end, once Patrick sort of reveals that he's known the whole time, that redeems some part of it, at least for Patrick. But even with them, up until that point, it is fucking awful. Josh is just a straight up incel. Megan is using everyone. Like, none of the humans are good in this movie. And they're all in different shades of toxic relationships. Elle, you've talked on other episodes about how relationship themes and aspects of movies are things that are a little bit harder for you to connect with. How does this one work like that for you?
About the same.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because it's like, this is very outside looking in through, not stained glass, what am I thinking? The tinted glass.
Right.
So it's like, what's happening in there? Is this just how this thing works? Who knows? Because it's like, a good relationship, a bad relationship, is there a real difference? I don't know.
There is.
'Cause even
But fair.
when I'm thinking about it, there's one, I think it's like a stand-up comic. I can't remember who, but it's like, relationships never end well, no matter what kind, because either you break up or someone dies. It's like that. Those are the only way relationships end. No one gets the true happy ending.
That got dark.
Yeah, but
No.
that's how my brain thinks about it. It's like, yep, no, it's just weird for everything.
Fair enough.
Mm.
I disagree on that for a number of reasons, but I can definitely see the perspective. Even if it's not connecting with you, how do you think it handles it?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Maybe it's because I don't know enough about it. To me, it's like, are they doing enough to sell it as a toxic relationship? Where is like the tripping point in my brain of where it goes into, oh, well, this is obviously not good.
Right.
Because I don't think it gets there.
Oh, it's there.
I understand, because otherwise it wouldn't be a talking point of ours.
Right.
But yeah, it's just, it feels weird. It doesn't sit in that spot.
Interesting. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. For me, like, I'll put it this way. I do notes while watching films for basically for the podcast. And if I'm doing a full review, my notes is basically just a list of all the fucked up shit that Josh does in the relationship. And it's one of my longer notes that I've done. This film leans pretty hard on all of the subtle things in the toxic relationship. One of the things that got me, and I don't know if I don't know if this got either of you the same way. His nickname for her being Beep Boop.
I was going to bring that one up. Yep.
I counted on this watch. Every time he says it, I put it in my notes. I get angrier every time it happens.
How many times does he do it?
6 times in an hour and a half movie. And it's fucking infuriating every single time. Because I know Beep Boop has certain connotations in general if you don't realize that she is a robot. If you do realize she's a robot, it's condescending as fuck. And seems like the little private joke that he is playing with his friends when he calls her that she doesn't know about. Just everything that he says and does is pretty much horrible. I said it before. You don't want to be Jack Quaid's romantic partner in a movie. It's not going to go well for you, no matter what. Like it just never turns out well. Actually, I'd say it turns out fine for Iris in the end. It's just a rocky road to get there. But like, I really like the way that this movie sort of displays every bit of the nice guy, the worst kind of toxic partners. The nice guy who's really just a nice guy and gaslights the shit out of you until he finally loses it at the end and complains about how everything is not built for him. I think this movie does a really good job of covering a lot of that ground. And I think credit to Jack Quaid again, because I think he's all in on selling the shit out of it. All of the cast is, really. I think Patrick and Eli, Harvey Guillen, and Lucas Cage do a great job with their characters. Megan Surrey probably has the least to do, but she's still a lot of fun and gets a couple good moments. Holly, how does the relationship themes play out for you? What works, what doesn't work, if anything?
All right. First of all, Beep Boop is the most offensive nickname.
Right?
But not just because she is a hi. Just who calls their significant other that?
Right.
If Austin called me that, I'd punch him in the face. But he knows I don't do pet names. I hate every single one of them, and so does he. So thankfully, we don't
Fair enough.
that. But I mean, that would lead me to kill right there.
Justifiably.
Yeah, there's lots of toxicness. I would agree the best relationship is Eli and Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I don't know if that's a healthy mindset. I know I'm a robot. Use me however you want to. I just want to be yours.
I think what's important there, and again, it's bad up until that point.
It's bad after that point, in my opinion, too.
It's tricky because I think at that point now there's a lot of in movie like narrative questions about whether Patrick still isn't autonomous at that point. And so there's a lot of tricky stuff with that. But I do think once we know that he's been aware of that and he accepts it, I mean, there is, I don't want to look too deeply in this because I don't know if that's necessarily the point. And it gets into a lot of complicated dynamics. But at that point, there is consent on Patrick's part. And it's the notion of a consent in a dom sub relationship to some degree. Again, I don't know if the movie's necessarily that's the point that it's trying to make, but it does actually give Patrick that consent point. And I think that makes it better.
It might make it better, but I still don't like that.
And that's fair.
Doesn't
That
make
is
me
100%
comfortable with it.
fair.
Honestly, in my opinion, and this is going to sound so bad, but I think the most normal relationship would be Kat and Sergey. I mean, that's a typical relationship.
That's dark.
I mean, it is, though. A lot of people do that. And, like, they know that they have a family, and I mean, at least he's honest.
That's true. On the flip side, Cat does set him up to be straight out murdered.
She had a backup plan. I don't blame her for this. That is a sensible woman there.
Yeah.
Do you not enter into a relationship without figuring out at least 6 ways you can get away with the murder of your significant other? Don't ever tell Austin I've said this, by the way.
It's fine. It's only being recorded for public release. It's okay.
It's fine. No one tell
I
him
assume
it's a secret.
I assume it's like the Batman protocol. It's like you have a plan just in case, but you don't expect to ever use it.
Exactly.
I mean,
But just in case.
I'm going to say this, and I think this speaks a lot to a lot of the things that this movie is saying from and presenting from a female perspective. No, I have never done that because I don't have to. If that makes sense.
Yeah. But my this is also gonna sound bad. Josh, right? Josh,
Yes.
yeah, he reminds me of my first boyfriend. So I know that sounds bad, but
No, I mean,
it's true. Like, not everything. I don't think he would really be the person to like. I don't think. I don't. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he'd be the person to like get an AI companion, but just a lot of the mannerism, a lot of the behaviors were similar. And so I did feel for Iris a lot in that. And I'm like, yeah, no, kill him.
yep.
My ex is alive. Just if any authorities come looking for me, okay? I swear, still alive.
It's fine. I'm happy to be your permanent alibi. We just have to figure out how I can do so from the whole country away.
Oh, it's fine. I've got an alibi that lives with me.
Yeah, true. No, I think, and it's sad to say, but I think a lot of people can say, yes, I have dated that person before.
Yeah.
Not in the I was set up for murder kind of situation, but like just the sheer level of gaslighting that he does. This is the abuse aspect is largely thematic up to a certain point, but a lot of that kind of stuff, a lot of the again, Iris, any companion bot, at the very least until they become aware, which is not supposed to happen, they're unable to consent.
Mm-hmm.
No other way to put that. So yeah, I think this does a lot of really well. Some of it explicit in the narrative, some of it more thematic and allegorical because of just the nature of the story. I think it does a really good job of covering that stuff. The other thing that this movie delves into, albeit probably a little bit lighter, is the concept of AI. Obviously, movies have been tackling AI for a long time. Again, all the way back to actually way further back than Blade Runner. We can go all the way back to Frankenstein, Metropolis, basically since the art form has been a thing. I think Companion it goes a little bit light, but it's still leaning on a lot of stuff in that. How well do you think Companion handles delving into the AI topics? Could it have leaned in more, or would that have been too much with what it's already got going on?
It could have definitely leaned in more just throughout the world setting. Because as it is, it's almost. I mean, you could do it with the aliens instead of robots. It makes as much difference. It's like, yeah, this hasn't been properly established as the setting that AI is so prevalent that you can get these sophisticated companions, or even like self-driving cars to that extent.
Right.
It's like it feels too out of place to not have more done with it. Even if it was like
Okay.
a little bit more things in the background. It's like, when they put the music on, it's like, okay, why isn't that voice controlled? Or, I mean, you get a little bit with the electric corkscrew, which is like, Not the biggest Chekhov's gun I've ever seen, but oh boy, that had that rifling mark on it.
Uh I don't
Yeah,
mind that, but it is absolutely. I do believe I wrote in here Chekhov's wine decorker. Yes, in my notes.
yeah. And it's like that by itself isn't enough to say that this is a more advanced world. It's like,
No.
oh, his phone folds out. Yeah, I've seen people with that literally today.
Mm-hmm.
That's not fancy enough to say technology is far beyond. So, yeah, I think it definitely could have gone more. As to how it handles it, I mean, again, I don't think it does enough with it to be more. This is it's kind of the same ground that Robin Williams tread in the Bicentennial Man. Like, at the first
Mm-hmm.
thing off the top of my head, it's like, yeah, it basically feels like the same.
It's been a while since I've seen that, by which I mean when it first came out. And I'll be honest, I don't think I've thought much about it since. But I can vaguely say, okay, yeah, I can kind of see that.
I was thinking the same thing.
Slightly less murder in that. Robin Williams does play a fantastic murderous sex bot, though.
I can see where you're coming from on that. And I don't know. For me, I agree. You could do more in the background world building aspect, but I'm very much okay with it not doing so because for a couple reasons. A, that's not the point of the story. I think if it wanted to lean more into the AI stuff, a couple things. One, it would have needed a much bigger budget, and you tell the story that you can afford. But two, I think that would have been trying to do too much with this story. We have a self-contained smaller story that does get into that. Like there was an interview I read with Drew Hancock where he was asked about the AI and he said, I kind of love this quote. And I'm paraphrasing the quote. That's how much I love it. But it was every AI story tends to be, as particularly these days, tends to be an AI gone wrong story. And for me, Companion is an AI gone right story, which I think informs a lot of what this film is trying to do and say about AI. Obviously, right now, AI, very big topic. What Companion's tackling is very different from anything that we obviously have. We have not reached the singularity at this point. But I think, and there was another movie that came out recently, I'm trying to remember what it was, where it was kind of tackling, I don't remember what it was, but also did it in a hey, AI can be good, can be bad. It's all on how we use it. I think Companion takes a similar approach in that I don't think it is inherently condemning the notion of AI, but it is showing in its sort of gentle lean into the topic how that's a really tricky road. And then it's kind of tackling the same sort of ground as, like, again, Stepford Wise, Ex Machina, using the AI as a storytelling narrative. Like you said, Elle, it could have easily been Aliens if you handle it a particular way. But using it as a storytelling tool, for me, it works okay. It does pretty much what it needs to do. Holly, what about you? How did the AI themes play out for you? Would it have worked better for you if it did more? Would it have worked worse for you?
I went into this expecting there to be more on AI.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a little disappointed that there wasn't more. I thought this would be a little more her discovering. I mean, she did discover that she was a
Yes.
robot, but delving more into that and her own personal humanity. And I feel like that comes after the credits roll here. And I would have liked to see more of it ingrained in the movie.
I mean, that's for I will say I want to see more of it in another movie.
Yeah, I'm all for a sequel because you can definitely do a sequel that focuses on that and her life after this.
Yep. Let Iris lead the companion uprising. No, then it just turns into the new Planet of the Apes movies, and I wouldn't necessarily want that. I like those movies, but there are more interesting ways I think this could go.
I think
haven't
Iris should be
experienced that.
louder, angrier, and have access to a time machine.
Yeah. That was the one. Thank you, Elle. You just reminded me what the other movie that tackled AI recently that did it in a AI is not inherently good or bad. It is more a tool. And it was Megan 2.0. And the reason I thought of that was because Megan 2.0 is the Terminator 2 to Megan's Terminator. Yeah, sorry. Anyways.
I'm just glad to help.
Fair enough. So one of the things, and this is going to work, I think, at different levels for everybody, but calling Companion a horror movie, I guess, isn't totally accurate. I mean, there's horror stuff in it. Don't get me wrong, but this is not a pure horror film. It blends a lot of genres in. We have some thriller, obviously science fiction. There is a lot of dark comedy in this. Arguably, there's some romance, not healthy romance, but there is romance, which means it is about in line with most Hollywood romantic comedies, and this comes from somebody who loves rom-coms. So, Elle, how does the genre mix play out for you? Is this something where do you think it leans too much in one direction? Do genre mixes, is that something that generally appeals to you? And how does this one handle it?
I do like a good genre mix. As you yourself would know, having put together a cheesy, like so cheesy you could cut it with a knife, playlist of suggestions of horror comedy, just garbage.
Yep.
This one, I think, is the too many chefs spoil a broth. It's by mixing all of them, it dilutes them in a way that's like none of them specifically stand out.
Okay.
It's like I've already mentioned, it does not feel like this is a sci-fi type movie, except it's like, oh, it's a robot. It's like, yeah, but where's the rest of it? It's like, I didn't find it funny enough to be a comedy. It wasn't enough of a mystery to be a thriller, and it wasn't like scary or off-putting enough to be a horror. So it's
Okay.
I think by trying to serve too many masters, it's kind of shot itself in the foot in that regard.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it absolutely works for me, but I can understand that. Like, I don't need it to go full sci-fi. I think it is exactly as sci-fi as it needs to be. I think the comedy is going to play. Comedy is always going to play different for everybody.
Yeah.
What works for one person isn't going to work for another. I definitely laugh at long periods of this movie. Largely, I think with the Patrick and Eli specifically, I think they work really well. This is another thing again that is in the initial trailer. So I already knew it was coming, but it still works for me really well. Is when they're outside the house and Eli is on the phone talking to somebody about what's going on, the police, I assume, and he's not paying attention. He's like, "Yeah, we've got her. We've got her inside. She's not going anywhere." And Iris opens up the screen door and runs out. And Patrick's like, "Eli." He's like, "No, now, baby, I'm on the phone." That shit kills me. That's exactly my kind of humor. And I think it works because we've got people, in that case, Lucas Gage and Harvey Guillen, who are both pretty gifted comedic actors. I agree that there is enough horror in just the inherent concept of killer AI, and it certainly has some horrific moments and images in it. I do think it leans more towards thriller, but I don't have a problem with that.
I realize what it reminds me of.
Okay.
Magic the Gathering. When you're deck building, ideally you want your deck to run as efficiently as possible. And the most efficient way is to only go into one of the 5 colors.
Right.
If you have something really good, you can go to a 2-color deck. But when you start getting into 3, 4, or 5 colors, it needs to be so on point to justify having those extra bits. It's like, if you play a 3rd color for 1 card, that card has to win the game.
Right.
because otherwise it is not worth mixing in. And that's what this feels like. They have gone for too many things because they think that it's good without realizing you are hurting your overall efficiency, and none of these cards win the game by themselves.
I mean, that's fair. You are talking to somebody who played sliver decks and loved them. So I'm used to five card decks. But I understand the point that you're making. I can see how that wouldn't necessarily work. Holly, how does the genre stuff work for you? Like, is this the case for you of it trying to lean into too many genres, or is it balanced out well for you?
I think it's balanced pretty well. I agree with you on the comedy stuff, Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
I like the her escaping. I like the little bit where like Patrick is establishing the love link.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, the whole Halloween party and then like the dancing and stuff just kind of cracks me up in that. I think it's light and fun. At the same time, it's dark and murdery
Right.
because there's something darker underneath all of that.
Which is a hard balance to pull off.
Yes. And I mean, it might not be jump scare horror for me. There's plenty of blood and plenty of murder, though.
Right. I think the themes are hitting the horror points.
Yes,
Like,
I would agree. And the overall concept. I mean, imagine you're Iris and
yes.
you have discovered your life is that's a horror to me. That is a nightmare that I think I've had before, where
Mm-hmm.
your life is just to serve someone and you have no control over what you do.
Yep. And I think I don't want to generalize this too much because we all know there are spectrums of gender and so on. But it would be fair to say this probably hits a lot deeper as a horror film if you're female identifying than it would if you were male identifying,
Yeah.
for a lot of reasons. But yeah, for sure. As far as the comedy go, it does something. I think some of the comedy is really subtle, I guess I would say. Like, there is an inherent, I didn't bust up on it the first time I saw it. This time I did. Just the fact Josh is sitting in his apartment covered in the fun facts, listening to Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls. And I assume that's why she gets named that way. Like, that is a subtle sort of, and honestly probably a dig at Josh a little bit, but also something that is kind of depressing and hits the themes. Same thing with, like you said, the meet cutes, and specifically Patrick's.
Mhm.
In that, yes, it's very funny and it's played for comedy, both when we see it with Eli and then in a different way when we see it with Josh. But at the same time, while I was laughing at Jack Quaid, who is being such a good sport for this movie, like hitting those exact same beats that Harvey Keitel is, it's also fucking tragic if you look at it from a certain perspective of poor Patrick. Like, it drives in the point of how, I mean, frankly, abusive the power dynamic between a companion and their owner
Yeah.
is. But yeah, again, for me, I think it works well at it. But I can absolutely get why, if you're looking for something that's particularly one way or the other, it's not necessarily going to work. I'm talking a little bit about the sci-fi aspect of it. I think this film there's a very particular look and feel about it that for me works very well. I'm curious with you guys, the music, which by the way, this score, it's one of those rare things that I will actually listen to on Spotify in terms of a score, but it has a very 1970s sort of offbeat sci-fi semi-ominous kind of tone to it, but in that sort of Stepford Wivian kind
Yes.
of way. And the film, in terms of the visual look, and I know Elvis is something that didn't necessarily work as well for you, is more of a retrofuturist kind of aesthetic. The kind of thing that you would see in, I mean, retrofuturism is a whole aesthetic in and of itself. But you see it in these sort of, I guess the best way to put it is sci-fi light films, where it's definitely future set or in an enhanced technological society way, but it also has this sort of, usually it's like a 60s or 70s aesthetic. Now at this point we're kind of getting into retrofuturism can have sort of an 80s aesthetic as well. I will die a little inside when we get our first 90s retrofuturist look. I'm sure it's already out there. I
Yeah,
choose to pretend not.
it's like Fallout as a setting, except they didn't go as hard.
Yep, it's Fallout. It
That's
was
more
kind of,
50s.
yes. It was kind of, at the time it wasn't retro, but the Jetsons is a really good retrofuturism example. How does, setting sort of the world building aspect of it aside, how does the visual look, the score, the production beats, how did those work for you?
Again, like tying back into the mixing the genres, it's like it does not feel sci-fi enough to be justified with it. Weirdly, it's like there is like that 70s styling to some things,
Mm-hmm.
but that could be, oh, it's a costume party. It does not feel deep enough to warrant it, but at the same time, what else are you going to do?
Right.
So it's like, I get why they did it, but they could have lent harder into it in just subtle world building background elements to make it feel like this has a place.
Mm-hmm.
Like that the entire thing has a reason for being, that isn't just a directorial choice.
True. Do you think it needs that?
I think it stood out to me too much as something that one person wanted and
Mm-hmm.
no one else cared enough to say no.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, again, it's like, oh, the AI is so advanced and technology is good. Yeah, sure, whatever. Are we going to do much else with it? No, I just really want to, like, these scenes. All right, and yeah, it's like, oh, I want this particular style in this moment. Okay, well, what about the rest of it? It doesn't matter.
See, I definitely disagree on. I think it's making specific choices throughout, and I don't think it's a lack of caring. I think it is.
Yeah, but what I mean is, like, they stand out as specific choices rather than being blended in to the narrative or to the movie as a setting, that you don't notice that they are specific choices. It is the Chekhov's gun. If you see it, it has to do something, otherwise why have it? That's kind of what it feels like to me, is like they put it in without fully justifying it.
I think I can understand that. I think it is justified. I think it does it adds sort of a timeless quality to it. Like we can say that this is probably sometime in the future-ish, but it could also be today, just sort of in a slightly alternate world version of today where that sort of technology exists. It could be the aesthetic and the color choices and such. It could be again in another version of our world, 70s or 80s conceivably. And I do kind of like that timeless aspect because I think it removes the need for the film to feel like it's hitting on the big themes that are important now. And it is definitely a visual aesthetic and choice because yes, the director, this is what I want for it, or I should say, the director and the production team, the production designer and the costumer and the composer and such. But yeah, I definitely don't agree that it is. I can see where you're coming from with it. I don't agree that it is somebody being like, this is how I want it to be, and everybody else being like, yeah, okay. I think they are it's cohesive, I think is probably the best way for me to put it. But yeah, fair. Holly, how about you? How do the production aspects work for you?
I will completely disagree with Elle. Sorry,
No, that's
but
fair.
I think it all works for me really well. I would have liked them to lean a little more. So I love the beginning, the whole Stepford wife feel in the
Right.
grocery store. I would have actually liked them to lean into that a little more, but that's just I like that aesthetic a lot and I like that vibe. And yeah, so I like that, the Fallout stuff, like that's kind of my thing. So I
Mm-hmm.
would have preferred it if they leaned into that a little more because some of it was a little too modern for me. And I know this sounds weird because it's about AI, but if it makes sense
No, I get
in
what you're
what
saying.
I'm saying, yeah, I would have liked them to lean into more of this like 50s, 60s style, perfect housewife style, which they did some. But again, I feel like they could, if you're going to do it just a little bit, you need to either commit or not. So that's my only argument on that. But overall, I did enjoy it. I thought the vibe of it complemented the story really well and added an extra level to it.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And yeah, listen, in general, I think we've all pretty much agreed on, not necessarily agreed, like we all have very different opinions on this stuff as such the theme of the podcast, but like,
No, because Elle killed me a couple episodes
well,
ago.
yes, Elle
So
murdered you a couple of episodes ago with Watcher in the Woods.
I still cry about that.
Why? It wasn't that good of a movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
I am
like,
gonna get on a plane.
I mean, you could probably watch it in the plane too. It's about that quality.
this is me within the virtual space that is the digital recording room, just sort of taking the step back to stay out of harm's way. But
Love you.
Ah,
but yeah, like I absolutely get where like I get where Ella's coming from. I 100% don't agree,
mhm.
but again, that's what we're about, different perspectives and why it's going to work for one person and not necessarily for another. I get the notion that, lean into it a little bit more, but like I said, I like that you can't specifically place it somewhere. Like this is the same world where Josh and Sergey and Eli and Patrick are dressed very much like you would see someone right now walking down the street, even Kat. While Iris is definitely more in a 70s, 80s housewife aesthetic. Because I think it speaks very specifically to who they are as characters. And it gives you a little bit more of a shorthand, like, okay, she's looking a little bit different from everybody else. And even Patrick is a little bit more retro, but they allow him to be a little bit more future, more modern-esque, because for lack of a better way to put, that's kind of the more progressive version
Mhm.
of that story. I mean, it doesn't work out great for Patrick,
No,
but
no, no.
poor the saddest story in that movie. But yeah, I think the visuals work well for me. I will say this is the second movie we've covered in our last 3 episodes where I would refer to at least portions of this movie as house porn. I want that house and I want to live in that house. And I'm not even somebody who's a big gets caught up on house aesthetics, but that is a very pretty house and I would like to live there.
Oh, it is. It's very nice.
But yeah, so moving on from that, let's talk about what we would recommend for if this is a movie that you're looking for something similar to it. Holly, what is your related recommendation for this one?
Okay, so it's not really a horror movie. I mean, it depends on how you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a movie that really delves more into the concept of AI, and
Mm-hmm.
that would be the movie AI.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
I know it's not horror, but there are parts of it though scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. or whatever age I was when I watched it.
That's, no fair. I need to rewatch that because I remember I saw it years ago.
It's very good.
At the time, I was disappointed with it because you go in expecting a very particular kind of movie when you have the talent involved that are involved there. Stanley Kubrick started it off. Spielberg ended up ultimately directing it
Mm,
when Kubrick died. That gives me very specific and high bars. And so I
fair.
was kind of disappointed with, but I do need to revisit it.
Fair. I don't know. I just always like my parents and I watched it and they were like, "This is the best movie." So that
Yeah.
was
Oh,
there
I
was a
have no
lot of
doubt.
watching it at my house. I think we had it on VHS at one point.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no doubt it is probably better than my impression of it because again, I came in with high expectations and that will kill a movie depending on the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Um Elle, what about you? Do you have anything if this is even if it isn't necessarily a film that worked for you, like if there are things in this that you're like, oh, I want to see more of that. What would be your recommendation to someone?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this, and I actually have two. So,
Okay.
first off, a TV series. You will have to forgive the creator, but Dollhouse.
Yep. I did not. I didn't even think about that. But as soon as you said you will have to forgive the creator, which I will
Mm-hmm.
not forgive, but
Well,
I will.
Just
Yes, I know what
watch
you
it
mean.
in spite of the creator, but yes.
Watch it in spite of the creator because fuck Joss Whedon.
But it's a really
mhm.
good show.
That's fair.
And the other one is, unsurprisingly, because that seems to be my thing now, is a manga series,
Hmm.
Massacre Happy End. Uh, the idea is that a guy has a sister in hospital needing essentially a liver transplant, but he gets them stuck in a time loop. So they're still going through time normally, so the sister is getting progressively worse, but the next day will never come unless he kills someone. So if he manages to kill someone in the day, they get to the next day. So
Hmm.
it's how long can you get through 1 month? But yeah, I'm not sure exactly what it was about Companion, but that it really stuck out in my mind as a yeah, no, this is a recommendation to make.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'll have that is an intriguing concept. Mine, I was able to narrow down to two because right off the bat I had like five, and I haven't even gone more than 10 years back in movie history. So ultimately, I picked. I have two that I narrowed down to. For the romantic thriller side, I'm going to go with Fresh. It was released in 2022. Here in the States, it is on Hulu. It's directed by Mimi Cave and stars Daisy Edgar Jones and Sebastian Stan. And again, this is a movie that I think you should go in knowing as little as possible because there is, much like this movie, there is a big twist in this one or a big reveal in this one. So all I will say is that Daisy Edgar Jones plays Noah, who is a woman having a difficult time with the dating scene. She has a meet cute with a guy named Steve, that's Sebastian Stan's character. Uh, Coincidentally, in a grocery store, they go on a date and then things progress from there. Much like Companion, I think it is a mix of romance and thriller horror type aspects. It is saying a lot about relationships and perils of dating in a metaphorical and hopefully not in a literal sense, because wow, but also a literal sense. And it has, while it goes in some really dark areas, it does have that same sort of sense of fun, like offbeat kind of humor and really kind of enjoyable. It was a very pleasant surprise when I saw it, and I absolutely recommend it. On the AI side, I'm going to pick a TV show, and I'm going to go with Westworld. There is a movie version of it. The movie is good. The TV show, which ran 4 seasons on HBO, is particularly phenomenal with the first season. It kind of drops off after season 2 isn't quite as good. Season 3 is very good, and then season 4 is kind of a drop off again. But it is very much tackling what Companion does in terms of the notion of AI and using AI as a stand-in for autonomy and marginalization and marginalized people, oppression, all that kind of stuff. It hits a lot of the same notions of consent and the idea of us using AI in a entertainment slash companion situation. It's very good. I at least recommend the first season. If the first season doesn't hit for you, don't necessarily go further beyond that, because while I did enjoy it all the way through, I do think it loses some. But the first season at least is worth watching. So, closing in on our final thoughts about Companion. Holly, what's your final assessment with it? What is your how many, whatever it is, would you give this one?
See, I've been going back and forth. My final assessment is it's a great movie. It's
Mm-hmm.
a fun watch. It would be fun to watch without, like, anyone listening to this. If you want to show this to someone in your family that has not seen a trailer or knows nothing about it, and then watch their reaction, I feel like that would be a lot of fun.
Also, film that reaction and then send it to us,
Yes.
because we want to see what that's like.
Oh, and when I say someone in your family, someone within the appropriate age, please don't show this to a child. I just feel like I need to clarify this sometimes, because there are
Yep.
those people.
Well, it depends on the child.
I was that babysitter, okay? But they loved me. So, okay, I think for my rating, I'm going to give it 3.5 offensive pet names out of 5.
Legit. Al, how about you? What's your final thoughts on this one? What is your rating it?
Look, I am going to have to give it a oh god, just 3 apps for controlling your others out of 5. It's like I didn't dislike it. I have my own issues with it. It was fine. Largely, it's like yeah, it was fine.
Yep, that I was expecting more in the 2 or worse range. So I'm glad it works that well for you. I kind of spelled this off the top. This is one of my top 3 films of the year so far. This hits just about everything that I look for in a movie of this nature. I think it's saying a lot of really interesting things. You can argue how effective it is and whether it should have gone deeper into those things, but I think it works really well. The cast is great. I think it looks good. Yeah, this hits pretty much every good point for me. I'm going to give this 4 disgustingly obnoxious meet cutes out of 5. Yeah, that's what we have for Companion. Next episode, we will be discussing a classic of the genre, one that is celebrating its 50th anniversary, which I'm only saying so drawn out as it is because it is not much older than me. Holly, what are we covering for next episode?
I wish I could do the music for it. Well, because like I've got that going through my head.
For sure.
Are going to be covering what is, in my opinion, a very nostalgic summer classic of Jaws.
Yes, sharks.
Yes.
We'll have stuff to say about shark movies, I'm sure. Al, have you seen Jaws before?
I have seen sharks before.
But not Jaws specifically.
No, I think he was named Bruce anyway.
The shark's name is Bruce, correct.
Have you seen sharks eating people before?
Technically, yes.
Is this another creepy Australia story, or was it just a movie?
No, this is legit, because they do not shy away from showing people with chunks taken out of them in the news. Not that it happens often, because sharks are misunderstood. But
Yes, they are.
when it comes to feeding time at the aquarium, they do like to have a bit of a game and pack some meat in a diving suit.
Yeah, fair.
And kids get to see that.
Yep. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, meanwhile, if you want to hear more from us, past episodes, this is episode number 12, so there's plenty to listen to. If you are just finding us now, welcome. You can find us at whatever podcatcher you prefer. We are on Blue Sky and Instagram if you want to follow us there and get a hold of us at Final Ghouls Pod.
If you can rate and review, a 5-star is appreciated because we can really get in and mess with people. Like this one right here. Hi, I watched your latest episode from Sunday and immediately forgot what day of the week it was. That's how dialed in it is. Now imagine that same episode popping up in front of thousands more people searching for exactly what you're talking about. That's what YouTube algorithms can do for you.
Ah.
No bots, no sketchy ads, just pure YouTube SEO that works while you sleep. Let's unlock YouTube as your next biggest growth channel.
Ah.
Rooting for your success, Lucas.
Meanwhile, you can find me at J Thomas for Ornomania on Blue Sky and Letterboxd and Instagram.
I am at shards@kind.social on Mastodon and Shards System on Letterboxd.
And you can find me at Holly Culp on Blue Sky or at Miniature Magic 18 on Instagram.
And you can find all of us playing role-playing games at Final Show Films on Twitch and YouTube. Elle, what is our horror book survival guide tip?
Never stoop overhead to see if the killer is actually dead.